So let's get into the next one, Angry Inch. This is the cover of the song from Hedwig and the Angry Inch, the rare sped up typo negative cover.
Yeah. Oh my God, I never thought of it that way. You're right. So this is interesting, actually, especially that it's on this album, right?
Right, yeah, just a stone's throw away from My Light Goyles.
Yeah. And what I think is really interesting is, like, because this seems to be him, when you look at some of the other songs, it does feel like Peter kind of emotionally bottoming out. And with this song, I mean, it's a pretty straight ahead cover, but it's a very surprisingly empathetic cover. That, according to Peter, was about understanding the similar feelings of like rage and displacement he felt from having a micropenis. He didn't read all the lyrics when he first recorded it. He kind of didn't understand what that whole middle like talking section was about. I guess I'll just read it. Sounds funny, you know. Don't know what it has to do with anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting choice. It kind of feels like an afterthought, maybe, but it's still like, I don't know. It's definitely out of the box, you know. But
yeah, it is just funny though, because the real story, of course, like, because I've seen that movie like a handful of times and everything, and it seems like a big glam pastiche, like a very Bowie T-Rex kind of thing, and it is a person who their sex reassignment surgery goes horribly wrong, and they're kind of left in this, with an angry inch, so to speak, as the song says.
Yeah.
But it's kind of about this idea of feeling like you're displaced as two separate entities within one person, and the idea of trying to become whole again is what the movie's about. And so it's kind of interesting, because I wonder, because I remember seeing it around the time this album came out, actually. I saw it in 2003. And so I have to wonder what made this song come across his radar, and that his immediate reaction was just, hey, that's pretty cool. Because you'd think from earlier stuff, earlier records, or even on this one, I Like Goyles and stuff, you would assume he would instantly have like an immediate revulsion to it, as opposed to like an immediate understanding.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't feel like he's taking the piss out of anything. I mean, they are always tongue-in-cheek or anything, but it feels pretty straightforward.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he doesn't change any of the lyrics, so you get to hear Peter go, "My mother made my tits out of clay. My boyfriend said that he would take me away." I just love hearing Peter say, "My boyfriend said that he would take me away." I'm just like, a guy like Peter, he doesn't need a boyfriend to take him away. Look at him.
Yeah. If anything, he should be taking his boyfriend away.
Yeah, exactly. He
just carrying him like Frankenstein.
Exactly. Did
No, but it's pretty good.
Did you notice that opening feedback squall just sounds like it could have been sampled from I Don't Want to Be Me? Like the feedback at the very beginning of both. It's like, it's almost exactly the same sounding. I think the first time I listened to this, I thought I had reached the end of the album, and it was like going to be a different version of I Don't Want to Be Me.
Like some weird remix version?
Yeah.
A Renholder mix?
Yeah.
Actually, I never thought of it that way, but what I did think about in terms of that song and I Like Goyles is that I feel like the three of these feel slightly interchangeable a little bit. Like, they're all great, but they all have the same kind of like tempo and kind of like pretty simple feel in all three of them.
Yeah.
Like a similar drum pattern in all of them, it feels like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely... I feel like this album is maybe a little too long. There's just too much stuff on it. That might be my one criticism of it overall, is that it's maybe a little overly long. It's not that it necessarily drags at all in any place, but especially once you get the third, like, sort of jokey hardcore song in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, like, if you had to pare it down, like, this would probably be one of the easiest things to go.
Yeah, it feels like, they had to have a cover on here. Like, every album has a cover song. And this was the prerequisite cover was Angry Inch. Not that it's a bad song at all. Like, it's very enjoyable. I think I even, like, at times, I don't know. It's just hard to say which one I would take off, because all three of them sound very similar. I want to say you take off I Like Goils just to, just not to have to talk about that one, but
just to make things a little easier. Like, can we just all move on past this, okay?
But it would probably be this one.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. And I think it also suffers from the fact that this is the third one of these on the record. So you would feel a sense of fatigue maybe setting in. You're like, another one of these songs, Whereas if this was the first one you heard up there, up front, it would probably sound better if it was front loaded with this. But yeah, by the third time you hear this, you're like, oh, God damn it, And it doesn't really feel like it does any of their major strengths. It's just everyone's playing great. But it's nothing goes like nothing goes to the 10 level.
Right. Like I Don't Want to Be Me has that really sweet little guitar lead in it.
Yeah.
That makes it stand out. I Like Goils has just the lyrics.
Yeah. It's just my favorite part.
My favorite
of any
part.
record, of any album of theirs. To be honest, I kind of find the rest drag. I couldn't wait to get to this song.
Yeah, it's definitely Peter's best moment as a lyricist. When he said, I'm flattered that you think I'm cute, but I don't deal well with compacted poop.
I like the idea that his understanding of gay sex is maybe about as good as Adam Carolla's.
Right, it's like usually they get rid of that stuff. Like,
just imagining Peter on Loveline. Here's what you're gonna do.
Your dick's gonna be touching poop, buddy. You don't want to try that.
Yeah, I can kind of see him saying that actually. If you got late '90s Peter.
The hole in your dick's gonna get clogged with poop.
Yeah. You're gonna be going from there, 1 and 2.
Oh fuck! But
Could be more. Hey, how sad to think that Dr. Drew would probably be maybe the worst person he's been with, but it wouldn't be the worst host he would have been paired with. Steven Weber.
All right, so next up we have Anesthesia. The only good song on the album, according to Kenny.
Yeah, the only good song, yes. He's not wrong in the sense that it is definitely like a very high point on the album.
Yeah, it's one of their signature songs. Like, you'll see this on lists of their best songs or good tracks to get started with. People throw that on those lists too.
This would be a good introduction track. Like, if you like this, you'll basically dig them as a band.
Yeah, it plays to all their strengths pretty much. I love that the quiet opening bass, and then everyone just comes in and you get those like the like Josh's like super dramatic piano keys. I love it so much. Josh is doing a lot of cool shit on this song.
Yeah, those piano keys, it's very what I mean by meatloaf is I just mean in the sense of it being very dramatic.
Yes, yeah, it's dramatic. He Peter's voice obviously is a big part of the like gothic tinged atmosphere, but Josh's keys too. And not just when he's doing like the Dracula harpsichord stuff. Like stuff like this, just like it lends such an atmosphere to all the proceedings, so to speak.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking how funny it would be if most of this album actually turned out to just be like between this and Life Is Killing Me and everything else. And even I Like Girls to a certain extent, is all of this was just based on the fact that Peter had to have his first ever colonoscopy. And so he was just him getting really pissed off at doctors. They're all a bunch, it's all a scam, you know? Like, how did your appointment go? I don't want to talk about it. I like Doyle's, okay? You know, it's just... They had to ram the old, bigger camera back then. They had to jam that thing all the way up. Had like a DAT tape in there. You could hear it
we
whirring.
also, I've, I had no promises, but I might have a lead on getting that footage for the Pot Is Killing Me vault, actually. So
Peter's colonoscopy.
Yeah, that'll be a bonus for the Patreon subscribers.
Basically, Origin of the Feces, the movie.
Yes, just so imagine that. Imagine that cover, but in virtual reality. Yeah,
you get to wear one of those stupid Apple headsets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's gonna launch with the new Apple headset.
It'll be narrated by Richard Attenborough. We see the polyps on the north side.
Only in the UK, and here in the US, it's going to be narrated by Sigourney Weaver.
Like Planet Earth. Hey, I wouldn't mind that. It's just called Origin of the Feces, the movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my god, that's fucking great.
Well, yeah, this Anesthesia is so fucking good. I love the transition around like 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yes, all those layers, all just kind of that song. That's when the song gets tall, not wide, but like it grows higher and higher with stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not like it's not that it sounds like hopeful, but it sounds like lighter than what comes before it a little bit with that do 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 thing. Yeah, it's definitely.
I agree with you on this because this song and a couple of others on here, I would say. This has the exact same issue. Shouldn't say not issue actually, but the same kind of similar thing I saw with The Cure, where The Cure had Disintegration, and everyone kind of understands this was them self-consciously being like, "Hey, we're gonna bring back the extra doomy goth sounds of like Faith and Pornography," but like coupled with like the stadium sensibilities of the later records. And so every song is this glacial, icy, very, very lush, but very like. It wouldn't be doom because there's no metal whatsoever to The Cure, but a song like Prayers for Rain or something is very bleak sounding, but it's very layered and stuff. And then the album Wish kind of gets pegged as much happier. It has Friday I'm in Love, and the other first single was called High, and it's very sweet sounding. And it has a more what you would call like an alternative guitar of like 92 sound, like a generic like kind of guitar sound. And so everyone kind of thinks of Disintegration is the extremely doomy album, and then Wish is like, well, it picks up here, and it's kind of like, if you really look at the rest of it though, it's just as bleak sound like in terms of like content as Wish or as Disintegration. It just doesn't sound like it musically. It lifts up a lot more, and so it kind of disguises the fact that like these songs are every bit as bleak as the previous album. And I think coming after World Coming Down, where everything felt like you had bottomed out in your depression, this one oddly is layered in such a way that half the time it feels like there is a song's moving up a bit when lyrically it's definitely not.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, the lyrics always have like a little bit of humor to them, but they're bleak.
Well, yeah, like even just that, like, I don't need love. That scream he does for that is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, God, that sounds so amazing. God, he had such a good voice for that.
Yeah. Yeah, he really, he had a knack for writing lyrics that were, I guess, like, fairly universally relatable, but like, you could tell that they were very personal to him.
Yeah, when your heart's broken and you're 6'10", you know, just like songs were like you
so
just couldn't
relatable.
possibly. Yeah, I love how relatable he is, you know.
Yeah.
When you lose your world and you're in Playgirl, you know. It's just
When your dick is huge.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot to lose.
With that lyric, you can just hear Kenny going, Peter, and Peter picking him up and just carrying him into the booth. Yeah. Well, you fucking sing it, huh? I'm going to watch you sing it. You know,
Yeah. It's not that, like, specific, like, lyrical, like, lines are relatable necessarily. No. It's more just, like, the themes, you know?
Well, yeah, I also understand what it's like to deal with trying to shoo people away, you know, because I also don't want to deal with compacted poop.
Yeah, I mean, well, every man can relate to I like goils.
Yeah. You were taught to, you know? That's what our fathers were supposed to do for us.
I can't help it.
Yeah. Listen, you like fucking girls, all right? You're my son.
Yeah, we do get some sitar in this too at the end during the I don't feel anything part. It's like super buried, but I'm obligated to mention it.
Yes, definitely. It's a fantastic song. The way it goes out at the end, that piano, I don't know if we're going to get to that part yet, but just the slow fade out with that is just like, it's so dramatic, right? Like they really have a penchant for like really having to deliver the goods when it comes to being dramatic with that. So
yeah.
their theatricality is out of 10 on this record.
Yeah, and then that goes into Drunk in Paris. It's a sort of a filler interlude. I thought the accordion here was synthesized. It sounds kind of chintzy to me, but for some reason on the Typo Negative fandom page, it says Peter Steele played the accordion.
What the hell? Well,
I couldn't find any. Yeah.
Holy shit, that could make sense, right? He could be like, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't find any citation for that. I saw
Polish
like,
Catholic. That makes sense.
I saw that on the Wikipedia it says that he played keyboards on this album too. Like he also played keys on certain songs, but
move, Josh.
So he just like knocks him out of the way.
I was gonna say the opening with the piano feels like something from like the video game Rondo of Blood for the TurboGrafx 16. Like a cast, like the pre-boss music before you go in to fight the boss. And the Drunk in Paris was initially from Rugrats in Paris. You know, where Peter then wrote that apparently about the hated Angelica. So. Just Tommy Pickles drawn with super long black hair. God, can you imagine how hideous Peter would look in that animation style?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, just
everybody looked like a...
Picture how, like, ghoulish he looks in the Black #1 video.
Yeah, now Rugrat him up. We can make him one of Stu's friends. Make him a cousin. He'd be Peter Pickles. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, so I thought I thought the accordion was synthesized, but I love the fact that like fandom just has like possibly complete bullshit on it like that. It's just this Peter Steele vocals, bass guitar, accordion. And I just like pictured him like holding this tiny ass accordion, like it just looks minuscule in his hands.
It looks like a toy. Oh my god, that is so fucking funny. I'd like to find like also just see it say ocarina or something else as like an instrument where you're like, when did he play that?
The piccolo.
Also, citation needed, please.
Remember when Peter played the trombone?
Yeah, he played the tuba and a lot of their songs.
Yeah, I mean this. For me, this song is like maybe another throwaway song. Like it's not long enough to be bothersome. I never like bother to skip it. It's like has an decent atmosphere to it, but it's just kind of there for me.
So did you hear the Loud and Queer version of it?
Yeah, I did. That's something we didn't mention because didn't know about it. But there's just basically a completely different mix of this album, like the I guess you'd say like the pre-release mix that has apparently the keyboards are louder, and some of the song titles are different.
I Like Goyles was originally called I Like Guys.
That's how like 13 is called Uncle Freddy Died on that one for some reason.
Oh man. Yeah, rest in peace Uncle Freddy in the Great White Fire.
Anything on Drunken Paris?
Probably not, honestly. I think we're pretty good on that.
Yeah.
Like they did like 11 minutes to talk about like a 58-second instrumental.
All right, so next up we have the big finale, The Dream is Dead. Which, as I mentioned on the first episode, was originally the title track, but I fucking love this song.
Me too.
Very, very Beatles-esque.
So this is, I always jokingly said this is Typo's answer to, like, thematically, their answer to the song Gave Up by Nine Inch Nails. This does feel like a big waving of a white flag, at least, like, emotionally. For a lot of them, I mean, the fact that even Josh was like, yeah, I think I'm going to be an EMT, you know? Like, this is around the era that would begin, so, like, there is an element of, I think I see which way this ship is turning, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's ostensibly about, woman, but it works as also a metaphor for their place in the music business.
Yeah, and it's it's so unfortunate. That little opening riff, kind of, you think it's going to be a different kind of song at first. Like, that opening riff feels at home on, like, World Coming Down, like, first 30 seconds or so. Then everything kicks in with it, and, like you said, it has almost like that sitar sound going with it or something. And I thought, like, once the song kicks in, I thought it kind of reminded me of Less Than Zero, because, like, it was a good point on calling the Beatles sound.
Yeah.
So I definitely noticed that.
Yeah, I love Peter's vocal performance on this one. It's just heartbroken and lovelorn. Pete is like my favorite version of him, maybe.
Yeah, I always wanted to make sure he was permanently sad just for my songs.
Me too, yeah.
Like, if something good happened, I would have gone back in time and just messed everything up just to keep him making songs I like.
Yeah, I would have gotten Elizabeth to break up with him a lot earlier. The hated Elizabeth.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have, and then I would have made her take him back right before he got over her, just so she could do it again and again and again.
Yeah, I definitely would have had her string him along a lot longer.
For years. Use his money, you know?
Oh, yeah, yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, and trust me, his whole family would have been dying in all kinds of ways. Had I saved Peter's life going back in time, he would have been able to watch them all in that submarine right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I heard we did get word in that Peter's remaining family members were on board the submarine that is lost beneath the ocean. So prayers up.
Prayers up to the remainder of Peter's extended family. Hopefully the Dreamcast controller turns back on. The Dreamcast controller is dead.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah, just right now.
That's great.
That's what someone says, that the guy piloting it, he just sees sharks going by or something, or an octopus. He just looks and goes, the Dreamcast controller is dead. And then it just goes, boom, it just caves in abruptly.
Jesus Christ.
I still think it'd be funny to try to rescue it with a couple of rockets to shoot it right up, and it just goes right out the water and straight into space.
You know, I hate to see him go. I know it must be so.
Oh, fuck, that's killing me, man. The Dreamcast controller is dead.
Another compressed submarine. I don't know.
I'm just picturing a mangled controller with like a virtual fighter character on the side, found in the wreckage like 1,000 years from now. What's this? What's this doing down here?
The water's so cold that it's preserved.
Yeah, everybody is. It's like, oh, look you could tell these people were clearly extended Polish family members of somebody.
They're all over 6'5". Interesting. Like
Jesus Christ.
All of Peter's family was that tall.
This fucking house of giants.
Yeah, they actually had like their house was sort of a tourist attraction because all the doorways and everything were so high.
Yeah, they all had like 9-foot doors, really high ceilings.
The door handles were all like 5.5 feet off the ground.
As adults, we're like reaching up to turn knobs, like we're toddlers.
The chairs are all like 4 feet off the ground.
You have to climb up them like ladders. You lean back in one and you fall and just crack your head. That's it. You're so high up off the floor.
Oh man, but anyway, the dream is dead.
You need to get hoisted up you need to get hoisted to sit up on a couch. I'd hate to see what their toilets were like. Oh yeah, so anyway, back to where we were, because after all that's cut.
So yeah, we get some fast like double bass drum work here, which you don't often get from them. It's kind of cool.
It's kind of in spurts too. It doesn't last long or a whole segment. It just kind of does a quick like little roll there. Yeah, it's sort of like just accenting the parts a little bit.
I love Kenny's wah pedal here. That wow.
Yeah, I love that.
There's like spacey guitar lead and very good. Josh once again adding so many great little like synth flourishes that really add a lot to the atmosphere.
I think especially like after the 3-minute mark or whatever, there's like this great like kind of noise going on there. It sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah.
In the song, and the thing that's funny is the whole thing's so beautiful and everything, and it goes so this is maybe the most counterintuitive example, like meaning of like where the music and the lyrics seem to like just go opposite directions. Because lyrically, this is a pretty bleak song for them yet again, and yet it sounds somehow triumphant. It feels like one of those things, like a positive ending. It feels like like the ending of a movie where you're like, they did it, you know? Instead,
they did it. The dream is dead.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. You know?
It's actually about defeating Freddy Krueger finally.
The dream is dead. That would have worked. Why didn't they use that for Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, that's a much better song. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, oh, they put a song in there. Which one? Why?
Yeah, but I need to rewatch that movie. I actually have that on DVD for some fucking reason. I don't know why, but I want to rewatch it and see where, because I'm pretty sure it is played briefly in the movie. Like you hear it coming out of a stereo or something.
I was thinking you should insert a clip from the movie. I was thinking of Kelly Rowland's dialogue.
Yeah. No, that's for I Like Goyles.
Yeah, we'll throw that in back there.
Yeah, I can't remember if we mentioned that. She infamously, supposedly ad-libbed a line where she called Jason, or no, it was Freddy. She calls Freddy the F slur, which I'm sure Peter is no stranger to.
Well, I can only imagine what slur she would have called Leatherface if he was in the movie. I could think of a couple. And none of them overlap.
There's a reason why she isn't the famous Destiny's Child person anymore. Because Beyonce joined the Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly.
They are Freemasons, though. But anyway, let's continue on with this.
Somebody killed him. I'm not gonna say anything more than that, but
anyway, what else do we have here? I don't really have too much more for this song. It's great way to end the album. If this had been their last album, it would have been a fitting end to their career.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Luckily, we got one more.
Yeah,
with an even better closer, honestly.
Which one's that? I've never heard of Dead Again. They did, you know.
All Hail and Farewell to Britain really is like if it hits me in the right mood, I will like get a little emotional hearing that song.
Well, I will, just based on the title alone, because I too want to hail and farewell to Britain. Goodbye, you awful fucking country.
Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, exactly. How quickly the planet would heal after that's gone.
But yeah, anything else about this one?
No, I honestly, I think the overall, I have to go back to what you had said earlier about Bloody Kisses versus this, and I do think that you do make a very good point. I think that this is a more consistent album, and it has more frequent high points than I think Bloody Kisses does. Getting through this one is not really even a getting through. It's constantly a treat. Every song just about reveals something to itself where you go, God, there's always a nice trick there. And so it's kind of funny that this is kind of looked at like maybe their version of like Goat's Head Soup or something, you know, one of their like, in the band's eyes, this is looked at as like a kind of like a bad record, or like at best a mid-piece record. And it's like, I couldn't disagree more. I think this one's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it goes toe to toe with their other albums from this era. Like, I think all the Bloody Kisses albums and on they all stand on their own. They're all fucking great in my opinion.
100%. And so yeah, no, this is a hard recommend. This might be maybe the easiest to get started on, just because there is a lot of songs on there, and so there's the different modes of them are here. I don't think there's anything that's so out there that would turn people away.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, you know, and it's a little bit of everything for everybody. So,
I mean, not musically anyway. Maybe lyrically, there might be some things that might turn people away, but
like what? I was kidding. I've already forgotten.
Fuck. But yeah, great album. I think I made my feelings well known. And that invitation to Kenny to come on and defend what he said remains open. But would you like to?
I love that. I love the idea of him just being like, that shit was sloppy, that was terribly written, uninspired, and then we're just like, nah, man, it was We can say back to them.
Nuh-uh. Yeah, but have you actually listened to We Are Electrocute? You should listen to it again, man.
Trust me, pretty good. You know, that's all we're saying to him, and we're treating him like he's a dummy. Yeah. What are you, gay? You know, just like get all like defensive to him.
He must be woke. That's why he didn't specifically say he liked I Like Goyles. He must be woke.
Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, typo negative has fallen. I love the dramatic has fallen. Like it's a Gerard Butler movie.
Yeah. So do you have your cover for this one? Do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, sure. Oh, no, you can go first. You do your cover.
My cover choice is All the Madmen, David Bowie song from the 1971 album The Man Who Sold the World.
So I tell them that I can fly, I will scream, I will break my arm, I will do me harm. Here I stand, foot in hand, talking to my wall. I'm not quite right at all, am I? Don't set me free, I'm as heavy as can be. Just my librium and me, and my EST makes 3. 'Cause I'd rather stay here with all the madmen than perish with the sad men roaming free. And I'd rather play here with all the madmen.
I'm not like a David Bowie super fan. I'm pretty casual, but this is like one of his albums that I really do love, and this is like his most like maybe like prog rock, like hard rock feeling album that I've really come across. Again, I'm not a huge fan. There could be some others from this era that have a similar sound, but this one has like a lot of like more like sort of expansive arrangements, and you know, it just feels a little heavier, but it's about insanity basically. There's several on this album about that, but this would have been like the one era of Bowie that I would have liked to hear them cover.
No, that can make a lot of sense, because I wouldn't really want to hear him cover too much glam Bowie or anything like that. Like, I think this part's actually a little more interesting. He hasn't fully solidified his sound yet, so you get to hear him do odd and interesting stuff.
Yeah, and lyrically it would fit. Like,
yes, 100%. Anything like that.
So that would be my choice. Yeah, this is from The Man Who Sold the World. So
that's actually a really good album. I really like that one a lot.
I really love that album. It was between this and Width of a Circle, the first track on that album.
Yeah.
And of course the title track too, but Nirvana already covered that on the Unplugged album. They did a great.
You kind of feel like you feel like you'd be kind of retreading worn territory.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like that's maybe not as suited to typo as this or Width of a Circle.
Yeah. Well, my idea here, are you done with yours, or sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My idea would be for him to cover his Playgirl mate there, Jeff Buckley's cover of Hallelujah. Just kidding. I couldn't think of a song I'd rather hear less than that song ever again.
Yet another cover of Hallelujah.
Yeah, like it was, the definitive version was already done by Kate McKinnon as Hillary Clinton after she lost in 2016, which was admittedly one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. Weirdly enough, no one else was laughing, but I thought it was funny.
That was like the only funny thing SNL has done in years.
Yeah, exactly. But my cover is kind of an odd one because when you mentioned The Man Who Sold the World and you have like those two versions to kind of go by, mine kind of has a similar thing. Mine is a 1974 R&B soul song by the group Hot Chocolate called Emma.
To find her lying still and cold upon the bed, a love letter lying on the bedroom floor. It read, darling, I love you, but I just can't keep on living on dreams no more. I tried so very hard not to leave you alone. I just can't keep on trying no more. Emily,
which is like this strange, bizarre, like very sparse arrangement. It's got like a simple like riff. I could see them like a like kind of going with it. And it's just this song of a guy talking about a girl he was in love with named Emma, who dreams of being a big star, but obviously life gets in the way. It never happens. And she eventually leaves him a suicide note saying she can't live on dreams no more. And it very dramatically at the end, you know, he just screaming like, Emma, you know, and everything. And I'm like, yeah, Peter could do that. And to get kind of a better idea of that, if you pipe the Hot Chocolate version, like a clip of that in, to get a better idea of what I have kind of in mind, is Sisters of Mercy used to cover this constantly. This was a frequent part of their live shows. I think they still do it live. And they eventually did it, recorded it as a B-side during Floodland. And when you hear their version, it's much heavier sounding. It's slowed down. It's more doomy almost. And, you know, you get Andrew Eldritch, like really like just like going high level dramatics. And I was like, oh my God, they could easily, because like if you could put Josh and Kenny and all them doing something else with this, I could see them taking the foundation of the song and building something really amazing out of it. This, I could totally see them making it their own. So that's my choice.
I'm gonna look that up. I don't think I've heard it.
Yeah, it's because like you have to hear the Hot Chocolate version first, and then hear the Sisters of Mercy version, and what they did, how much they changed it. Imagine where Typo goes with that.
Hot Chocolate,
and it would give Peter a really, you know, most people know them for doing that like "You Sexy Thing" song.
Oh, okay.
I believe in miracles.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Yeah.
Yeah, so my recommend for this is a band a lot of people I'm sure have heard of. There's probably a fair amount of crossover, I would imagine, already. Faith No More.
Oh.
I'm sort of late to the party with this, although I did have I did have the real thing on cassette when I was like 6 years old, just because I loved Epic. I fucking loved Epic. I remember seeing them. I'm not sure what it was on, if it was like the MTV Awards or if it was on SNL, do Epic, and I thought Mike Patton was like the coolest guy I'd ever seen.
Yeah, yep.
Like, you know, now you look at it, you're like, he's a little goofy at that stage, but
I remember my mom seeing me. I was watching the video. My mom walks by and she just goes, "He looks like Robert Downey Jr." and just keeps going.
Yeah, so I would say I liked them when I was 6, but I liked just Epic. I remember like being so disappointed in that album. It was just too weird for my child mind, but I got...
Well, you weren't in your Bill and Ted phase yet, you know what I mean? Of being like, whoa, cool about everything.
I'm definitely in my Bill and Ted phase now. That's why it's hitting me so hard. But yeah, now I'm very into them. I really went through a Faith No More phase for a while, I think last year, and then I just kind of been dipping back into them. But I would say start with Angel Dust. There's some parallels between the two bands that I thought I would point out here. So both bands had a hit. Faith No More had Epic, which was a massive hit, like way bigger than Typos with Christian Woman, but they both had
legit mainstream.
Yeah, like massive, playing on Saturday Night Live, playing the MTV Music Video Awards, etc. But both bands, they have that hit, and then they take a little too long to follow it up, and their follow-up is just a little too ambitious, and it bombs. Angel Dust, not nearly as successful as The Real Thing, but is seen as sort of a masterpiece now.
Kind of like October Rust.
Right. Yep. Both bands have very unique, charismatic frontman. I would say the uniqueness extends to the rest of the band as well. There's no band that really sounds like Faith No More. There's a lot of bands that are inspired by them and take elements from them, but there's no band that sounds like them. And that's the same thing with Typo Negative.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, I would say start with Angel Dust. It's a fucking fantastic record. You get a lot of different styles on this. You get their more upbeat, funky stuff. You get some really heavy stuff with Mike Patton just screaming his lungs out. It's a great album. It took a little while for it to sink into me. The production is very early 90s. It came out in 92, so it's very early 90s production. But awesome album.
Even
Definitely.
the album cover was begging for it to be overlooked.
Right, yeah. For sure. It's just what is it, a swan or something like that?
Yeah, it's just something weird like that. You're kind of well, that don't tell me what that sound like.
Right, yeah.
And I gotta think about this?
And it's a markedly weirder album than The Real Thing, which is kind of a weird album too.
Well, even the main single for that was Midlife Crisis, and that song is a very strange song.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of, as far as a single goes, it's a good song, but it's just a weird choice. You're within a minute of that, I'm I already could feel half the room get lost.
I didn't really like Faith No More for a long time. I didn't get it. Everyone was oh, they're amazing. Mike Patton's a genius. Blah blah blah. I was sort of I can respect the craft and the technical ability, but it just did nothing for me. Then for whatever reason, funny enough, I think it was playing GTA 5. Midlife Crisis is on one of the radio stations. And I remember just cruising around in GTA 5 and hearing that and being wait.
It's his voice is doing that at the beginning.
Yeah, and just that there's another parallel there with the synths. The keys are very, very prominent on this, and sort of like Josh's keys. They're a little bit not, I don't want to say stock or cheap sounding, but they don't sound maybe as they sound very digital, synthesized versions of instruments and stuff. So yeah,
and
I don't know.
And one of the other things, I don't know if it's a similarity or not, but I'd like to imagine it is, their keyboard player was gay.
I'm just assuming Josh was gay because look at him. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No, but he actually was, and it was like in a time where like that was actually kind of a, and not because we're trying to be progressive. It's just like, nah, the dude's good in the band. Like, why would we throw him out? You know, so you just kind of like
Roddy
all
Bottom.
Right,
Roddy Bottom is his name. He came out in '92 also, which is funny like because
a naughty bottom.
Angel Dust has that fucking song where that he wrote the lyrics to, where he makes Mike Patton sing about sucking dick and swallowing cum. So I fucking love that. Yeah.
And the fact that Mike's like, cool, I'll do it, man. I don't care.
Right. And he puts his whole fucking ass into it too. Like, he's just like he delivers the goods on that performance. So they're a really great band. I could change my mind about this because I said the same thing about October Rust. They never really topped Angel Dust for me, but great band. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are listening to this who have listened to them already and are familiar, but if you have and you don't like them, give it a shot. Yeah.
I find I know, like, there's a very specific kind of guy. Faith No More or anything by Mike Patton doesn't have the casual. It has the hardcore, where you'll get immediately told about 11 bands you've never heard of that he's apparently a part of.
Right.
Do you have you heard this from Phantomos? Have you heard that from Tomahawk? Have you heard this from, You're like, oh,
Dillinger
Jesus,
Escape
man.
Plan.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yes. Oh, shit. So my recommend is I'm just going backwards just because I don't really have much of anything. Like, the album didn't have a theme or anything going with it. And so I just kind of want to go for something that I just think really kicks ass and is really great. And I decided to use the Chameleons, specifically the album Script of the Bridge, their debut record from 1983. I just think every song on there is a fucking killer, just beautifully written, fantastic lyrics, gorgeous production, a really great use of a lot of guitar effects, keyboards, and it's just a fantastic post-punk record, like start to finish. It's deeply atmospheric. It's very evocative. It gives you this constant feeling of like longing, like a melancholy that kind of hangs over you and follows you around. And it suits even in the lyrics, like even a slight song like Here Today, which when I remember reading it going, what the hell is this? And then I read that apparently that was them writing about the assassination of John Lennon. Oh, okay. I did not know that. And that's what the lyric is. I don't know what happened, but somebody lost their mind tonight. I don't know what happened, but I don't think I got home tonight. There's blood on my shirt. Damn. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit. And then the last part of that song is just him going, I'm draining away, over and over again as the song fades away. And I was like, fuck, dude, that's just something about that just feels so sad. But and that song has like the MVP of that is something actually I could see Type O actually doing would be the song Second Skin, which is kind of about near-death experiences and stuff, and it's just a really beautiful song, but I could see them almost covering it in a way. Although I don't know if you would slow it down, because it's already kind of a snail's pace, but yeah, that's the one I would, if I would use a clip from, I think that would be the one.
Script of the Bridge is a great album, though. I really do. That's the only album of theirs I've really checked out. I think I got the next one as well, back when I was doing my post-punk, education, but Script of the Bridge is the one that stands up for me.
Like the third one, that Strange Times, that's got like a handful of killer songs. Like I think Tears, both versions of that, and like Swamp Thing are amazing, and it has a really good cover of Tomorrow Never Knows. But Only Scripted the Bridge gets me start to finish, and I think the song Paper Tigers is about them getting in a fight with Killing Joke at a stage.
Yeah, you told me that, and
he wrote like how much he fucking hates them apparently, and I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that is really funny.
But shit, dude.
But yeah, so I think that's it for this episode.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, a fitting way to end this actually, since it was 2003. But yeah, thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the show.
Now watch this drive.